are listening to the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the internet.
Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to support the show, and ways to find friends of the show. And that would include Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel, and others as well, who I co-host on their shows and all those other things. So please check out the episode description for any show for those links as well. And getting back to experiences here tonight. So with that, let me just dig in here. Thank you all for listening, however you listen. And hopefully I have the fan on, so hopefully it doesn't sound too weird, but it's getting to be summertime in Michigan. So let's see here, as I record this anyway. This one says, my girlfriend, a friend, and I were in the house I grew up in a few years ago, watching a movie in my sitting room. When the movie ended, my friend got up to leave, and I followed him to the front door, said goodbye, and locked it behind him. I would like to note this friend is a complete non-believer, where my girlfriend and I do believe. After he left, I asked my girlfriend if she wanted to go to bed, as it was late. We turned off the TV and went to head upstairs. As we were just walking out of my sitting room door, she was speaking to me, and I heard something, and I told her to be quiet. I had heard a noise coming from upstairs, but I couldn't make out what it was, until she stopped talking and we both heard it again. 3 distinct, quite loud claps. At first she thought me and my friend were messing with her. She assumed he was the one upstairs clapping. Until it happened again a few seconds later. We bolted out the front door. She still didn't believe what had happened, and was convinced my friend was upstairs. My friend only lived about a 5-minute walk from my house, and had only left maybe 2 minutes before this. So I called him and begged for him to come back. Again, he was not a believer and was reluctant to come back. Not out of fear, but he was tired and didn't believe what I was telling him on the phone. He agreed he would come back. While waiting for him to come back, we started second-guessing ourselves if we were just imagining things. So we opened the door, front door, and my girlfriend shouted up the stairs asking it to clap again. Without delay, it did. Again, 3 claps. When he made it back, he was kind of annoyed. I had made him come back, and he had no fear. So he went inside while we waited at the front door. He stood at the bottom of the stairs. My girlfriend asked it to clap again, and it did. This time not as loud, but still loud enough that my complete non-believer friend heard it. He turned and looked at me, all the blood drained from his face. And I had never seen him look like this before. Safe to say, we did not stay in my house that night. And to be honest, I don't think we ever did, as we had just got the keys to our apartment at the time. I just wanted to know if anyone else has ever had something similar happen to them before. I want to note that this was my mom's house. It was a council house here in Ireland and was relatively newly built, probably early 2000s. I always thought my house was haunted with strange things happening over the years, but nothing ever like this. 100% concrete with multiple witnesses like this. My mother would never admit to it being haunted until she got a bit of drink in her. Then she might tell you she's heard similar things in that house. And that's where that one ends. That's fascinating. That's not the first time I've heard of, again, usually when you think of sounds coming in twos or threes or fours, it's knocking or bumps. But this is not the first time I've heard of clapping before. I feel like there's maybe a couple of accounts of that in previous episodes of this show. I can't think of any specific examples or episodes, but I feel like I've heard this before. If not my show, then definitely on others as well. So it's not as common as the knocking, but it is out there. There are reports of this out there. The quick response of I don't know who that was, of the consciousness or entity or whatever that was there that was making those sounds is fascinating, because it's not like it was just random. Maybe it was random the first time, maybe not, but then second and third times or fourth times or whatever it ended up being, that was not. It doesn't seem likely it was random with how quickly the responses came. What that means, I don't know, especially with nothing else to go on there. Although the writer did say that there was other things that happened in that house, so, and it doesn't have to be the house that was the source of the activity. It could have been the land. It's something that popular culture sort of overlooks, unless it's, of course, certain types of situations. But in general, it seems the stereotypical haunted place has to be a lot older to have anything happening in it, which is based on all the reports I've heard and read, not always the case. Moving on to the next one here. This one says, when my cousin passed away many years ago, I was one of the only family members who was out of the country. He was a young, carefree guy and had a naughty personality, loved joking around and playing pranks. I cried quite a bit when I heard he passed away from his sickness. He was 22. 3 days later, I was just lying in bed, and suddenly my room door opened wide, closed, not fully, opened wide again, and closed again. The door also had that creaky opening and closing sound. This went on for 30 minutes, and I just kept staring at it, watching it happen. There was no wind. No window opened. And it wasn't akin to door movements when it's windy. It really was like someone was opening the door wide and then pulling it back. Then it just stopped on its own. I didn't see him, but one of my uncles did see him a few days after he passed away. I like to think that he visited me one last time. And that's where that one ends. And it could have been this person, this cousin, trying to get the writer's attention there. Again, using something that was relatively easy to move. Again, it's a door on hinges, and as long as hinges are working right, doors can be fairly easy to move around. 30 minutes is a long time. That is fascinating. For that to happen over and over again like that. It's one thing if a door or an object just moves once here and there. I think then it's maybe easier to write off, especially when there's no open windows or obvious drafts in a location where the object is moving. It's one thing for it to move once or twice, but it's another for it to be happening that much over and over again like that. So that's fascinating that it happened for that over and over for that much time, for like 30 minutes. I wonder if this was all they could do, or if they could have shown themselves, but they didn't want to freak out the writer there. It seems possible. It's hard to say. Moving on to the next one here. This one says, for a bit of context, my dad lost his mom when he was a kid, but from what he told me about her, I know that she was an amazing person and a very attentive and caring mother. And his father was never really interested in us after he'd eventually remarried. So growing up, I only ever had my grandparents on my mother's side. When I was really young, around 2 or 3 years old or so, after my parents had put me to bed, they would hear me talking to myself in my bedroom. But the weird thing is that I sounded like I was replying to questions or talking to someone who wasn't there. And when my parents would ask me who I was talking to, I would tell them I was talking to my other nanny. I always called my grandmother on my mother's side nanny as a child. So being the open-minded man that my dad is, he got a photo of his mom, and asked if I recognized the woman in the photo, to which I told him that was my other nanny. I think he took a lot of comfort in thinking that his mom was always watching over us, and I think that I do too. And that's where that one ends. I've heard and read so many similar cases of that, where a child, a young child, seems to have communication with someone that the parents can't see. And of course, there's all different ways this plays out, but one of the common ways is that it turns out, based on pictures or that either are shown to the child after the fact or that they see after the fact without being shown, as they grow older, they figure out it was this relative that had passed away before they were born. In this case, long before they were born, it seems like. So that's always fascinating. And it seems to be sort of another kind of a variation on the it's a variation on the visitation experiences that adults have in dreams, but I think because kids they haven't been taught that these things are impossible yet by society, they can have these experiences in many cases while they are awake. These visitations can happen when they're still kids, when they're still little. So that is fascinating, and again, that's come up before, and I'm sure it'll come up again as I continue to do the show, and you all can probably find accounts of it as well if you look around online. I was saying the other day on a show that I think it might have been Ricky's over on Anything Is Possible. I'm not sure though. It was either that or Troubled Minds, Michael Strange. But I was saying that, the things I do here, the research I do, and the way I find these stories, these accounts of people's experiences, anyone can do it. They're out there, they're online. And if you look up true ghost stories, true paranormal stories, you'll find forums. The most, I think, recent common one is Reddit, but there's other websites that are older that have them, just tons of them. And in modern sites and new sites or more recent sites, again, there are posts from people every day about their experiences. It's just I never have a hard time finding accounts of these experiences to share on these shows. They're always out there, and there are always new ones out there. So, and I do this because I enjoy finding these and sharing them. So, anyway, moving on to the next one here. This one says, my friend and I are trying to identify what he possibly saw. Location, somewhere in Poland. I don't know what the name. Date, autumn of 2023. This is not a joke or a fictional story. We are genuinely trying to understand what happened. My friend reported seeing something in a forest near a road and a cemetery at around 3:20 a.m. The road runs directly into the forest. He was with another friend at the time, and both of them reported seeing the same thing. They described a humanoid figure, approximately 170 centimeters tall, entirely white in appearance. The whole body appeared white. The conditions were such that the figure could be seen clearly enough to make out its general shape. The distance was around 4 to 5 meters, and the figure was slowly moving and appeared to be coming closer. According to their description, the figure had no distinguishable facial features. They also mentioned a faint glow or soft light around it, described as a kind of natural aura rather than a direct light source. The figure did not interact directly, and there was no physical contact or sound associated with it. I was not present during the sighting, but I am trying to help them understand what it could have been. There is also some local context. There is a reported case of a death in the forest, and an old cross is located there. There is also an additional unverified report from a taxi driver who was driving with my friend. During the ride, the driver mentioned seeing something similar in roughly the same area, near the same road leading into the forest. This is not confirmed, but the description was reportedly similar. We are not claiming anything supernatural. We are simply trying to find possible explanations or known phenomena that can match this description. Any serious input would be appreciated. Also, would it be a good idea to investigate the area ourselves to better understand what might have caused this, or would that be unsafe or not recommended? It didn't look like any known creature or alien. It was perceived more like a ghost or soul-like presence at the time. And that's where that one ends. I don't know what they saw, but this is yet another of these sightings that I come across here and there of these white or gray humanoid, human-shaped beings with no facial features, or very little in some cases. No clothes, but no distinguishing features on their body as far as anything else, really, even. So it's not the first time I've heard of this. I think it may be the first time I've heard of this in Poland, in another part of the world, basically from the U.S. But that's always fascinating because it makes me wonder how common are all the creatures or beings that people see in one part of the world. It also, if I could talk, how many of these creatures are all over the world? In other words, are there sightings of something in, let's say, Poland that are also seen somewhere around there? Obviously, there's sightings of this in Poland, again from this, based on this post, of something that is similar to what people have seen here in the U.S. So how far does this spread? How common are just anomalous sightings all around the world? And it seems to be pretty common. And then there's the language barrier as well. So who knows what else is out there that doesn't get talked about because of sort of languages and limited access to material from one language that's only in one language type. So one language type. Basically, any kind of language where you don't have a translator on hand. So yeah, I'm wondering how common these kinds of sightings are around the world. Obviously, there's all kinds of folklore and reports of ghosts and spirits and similar things throughout time, and they've been given different names, souls, all those things. So yeah, I'm not sure what they saw there. It's really hard to say. But anyway, that's I think that's probably all we're going to do for this episode as far as reports or experiences, because there's just too many to, well, there's not enough time, I should say, to do more. So yeah, these sightings of these humanoid single color featureless creatures are fascinating to me because of an idea I've had recently, and I'm not saying I'm the first one to have it, because I don't know that, probably not, but it makes me wonder in so many of these cases, are these figures, and I brought it up in the show before, are these figures featureless because the people seeing them don't have these ideas in their mind already of aliens or creatures or cryptids, and so whatever these beings are, they don't have that information to draw from in the person's mind, in the witness's minds, if it's more than one witness, to take on that appearance? Or can they be caught, so to speak, in transition, or with, let's say, their masks off, their entire form different at that moment, and blank, so to speak, at that moment? While at other times, maybe these figures would appear as Bigfoot or Sasquatch or Dogman. I don't know, but it seems like a possibility. That's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.